It's Friday, May 8th, and this is Now on HNN.
I was actually unemployed for about a month. I was furloughed.
Another large food giveaway draws hundreds hours before the event even started.
I woke up at like 4 o'clock.
A record number of job losses in April causes the unemployment rate to skyrocket to 14.7%. I'm Naomi Ruckham with a look at the workers hit hardest.
I really don't know how I'll get by, how I'll be able to buy groceries.
More and more states are starting to reopen today. I'm Michael George with how they plan to enforce social distancing when more Americans are going outside.
The guests can't come in without a mask.
These stories plus Facebook is getting another makeover coming up on This Is Now.
Good afternoon and happy Aloha Friday, everyone. Ashley and Jonathan here. We want to start the show with some good news here at home. Health officials say there are 0 new cases today. The last time we had 0 cases was back on March 13th, and we've had fewer than 10 cases a day for more than 2 weeks now. So the statewide total stands at 629, and so far close to 90% of those patients have been released from isolation.
But even with that encouraging news, Lieutenant Governor Josh Green says there's still a grave threat to the state as coronavirus cases increase on the mainland. We talked to him this morning on Sunrise.
That's why I recommend things, at least a very strong look, and I think we should do it. A basic test, anyone before they travel to Hawaii, 72 hours before, they have to get a test. Not tough to enforce because we won't let them come and avoid quarantine unless they have the test. So I'm working with some national organizations to make it easy for people to get the test, and then we would see a certificate.
Now on Monday, retail stores on the Valley Aisle will be allowed to reopen. This morning on Sunrise, we talked to Mayor Victorino about those plans.
So we're going to give everyone on Monday an opportunity who wants to opening up, and what we'll be doing is making sure we monitor them to assist them in making sure they're doing what is right for the safety and health of our people.
Just to clarify, Mayor, not all businesses are allowed to open, correct?
Absolutely. Retail and retail outlets in shopping centers are going to be allowed to open, along with services like, for example, auto sales, of different products that we can allow people to utilize, and the service of these products like refrigerators or things like that some of them was very restricted and they were unable to get the type of service they needed to get done.
Business owners on Kauai and the Big Island were allowed to reopen yesterday.
We've welcomed a steady stream of customers.
Here's what Deja Vu Surf had to say about it.
We are so thankful for their patronage.
With no tourists around, it wasn't a mad rush to the shops. Still, shopkeepers say some income is better than none.
All of our coworkers and guests are asked to wear the CDC recommended face coverings. Stay at home if you're sick, maintain the 6-foot distancing, and then, save the hugs and honeys and just, share the aloha with a big shaka.
While the number of cases keeps climbing across the country, many states are pushing forward with plans to open up. At least 44 states have eased some restrictions. Michael George reports from New York.
A gift of Mother's Day flowers is once again a possibility in California as florists reopen their doors. But it's not business as usual.
All the wholesalers have been notified and informed of how to try to conduct business with social distancing.
Starting today, California is allowing curbside pickup at some smaller retail businesses, including clothing stores. California has seen a downward trend in newly positive cases over the last 2 weeks. But of the 44 states that have reopened in some form, nearly half have seen an increase in newly reported cases. In Texas, where cases are on the rise, hair and nail salons are reopening today with precautions.
They'll all be masked. For sure, and then the guests can't come in without a mask.
The day after the Tyson Foods plant in Waterloo, Iowa reopened following a coronavirus outbreak, county health officials said more than 1,000 workers at the plant had tested positive for the virus. That's more than double the number of infections the governor had said the day before. Social distancing has been a challenge at parks as more people come out to enjoy the warmer weather. New York's mayor says starting this weekend, the city will limit entry to a number of parks to cut down on overcrowding. New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio also announced a new citywide testing and tracing program.
The New York City Test and Trace Corps is going to be a dedicated group of trained individuals who will lead the way in creating testing and tracing on a level we've never seen before in this city or this country.
In Rhode Island, a teen has collected 650 donated smartphones and tablets to help coronavirus patients in the hospital communicate with their loved ones.
The patients in the hospitals who have used them are super grateful.
He's looking to expand the program from New England to New York. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Vice President Mike Pence's press secretary is infected with the virus, becoming the second administrative aide to test positive this week. And officials insist the White House is operating safely.
We have put in place the guidelines that our experts have put forward to keep this building safe.
The positive test for the Pence aide came a day after White House officials confirmed that a member of the military serving as one of President Donald Trump's valets tested positive for the virus. Trump says some staffers who interact with him closely will now be tested daily.
I do what I have to do. We've taken very strong precautions at the White House.
Now there's a new report that shows just how devastating the pandemic has been on job losses. Naomi Ruckham has the story.
I'm just trying to survive this.
Claudia Lugo lost her job at a Macy's in Orlando when the coronavirus forced retailers to shut down. She hasn't been paid in 5 weeks and has yet to receive an unemployment check from her state.
The bills keep coming in and we don't have an income.
The Department of Labor says 20.5 million Americans lost jobs in April, the worst monthly loss on record. That brings the unemployment rate to 14.7%, a level not seen since the Great Depression, and a huge jump from February's 50-year low of 3.5%.
There is certainly some aspect of this that could be seen as a potential glimmer of hope. And that is that a lot of these people said that they were temporarily laid off, and that could suggest that they will be coming back into the labor market.
With the coronavirus shutting down stores, retail jobs were hit hard. Some 2 million people were let go. But leisure and hospitality, including restaurants, saw the biggest impact, losing 7.7 million workers. And all industries relying on tourism furloughed jobs, from Las Vegas casinos,
all of this would be full of patrons,
to Florida beaches and New York museums, where Ethan First lost his job as a tour guide.
I really don't know how I'll get by, how I'll be able to buy groceries.
First looks forward to going back to work when restrictions are eventually lifted. But Victor Ho's position at a cosmetic company was eliminated.
I have some savings, that I can live off of.
He's joined by millions of others trying to find a job when there are now fewer to fill. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
Some news from the 9th Island. The Nevada Gaming Commission today approved guidelines for reopening Las Vegas's numerous casinos. Casinos will be limited to 50% capacity with fewer seats at tables, and every other slot machine share will be removed. The state hasn't announced a reopening date just yet, but some resort operators are hoping to restart by Memorial Day. And back here at home, advocates for the poor are warning lawmakers not to make the same mistake they did during the last recession. As our Allison Blair reports, they say that mistake was gutting services for people who need them the most.
Policy experts say the homeless crisis we're dealing with today is in large part due to decisions that were made a little more than a decade ago during the Great Recession, when lawmakers slashed funding to nonprofits and decimated the state's mental health system.
You guys doing okay over here?
Yeah. Right now, there were more than 4,000 homeless people in Hawaii. Some simply don't make enough to cover rent, while others are battling addiction or are consumed by mental illness.
Hello.
Years of aggressive outreach, a slew of new programs, and affordable housing projects couldn't undo the damage done by social service cutbacks during the last recession. Between 2009 and 2016, Hawaii's homeless population swelled by more than 2,100 people, nearly a 40% increase.
History has taught us a lot.
The executive director of Partners in Care says cutting critical services that provide people with food, housing, medical and mental health care, and substance abuse treatment would turn the state's current homeless crisis into a catastrophe.
The amount of job loss that has occurred within the last month is so much higher than what we ever experienced during that recession in 2008, 2009. So the more effort we can put right now to stabilize people quickly, the better off we will be in the long run.
Government policy experts agree, saying now is the most important time to fund services that'll keep vulnerable families afloat.
Typically, the state can't run a deficit, but in cases of emergency, and this is certainly a case of emergency, they can borrow, and the interest is as close to zero as it will ever be.
Geisting says cutting the budget will only delay the state's economic recovery.
In times of recession, when private businesses are not investing in the economy, only government can do that.
This won't be an easy decision. In the past, lawmakers chose cutting budgets instead of raising taxes or laying off public workers. Allison Blair, Hawaii News Now. All right, this morning, hundreds of vehicles lined up for another food giveaway. It's one of those common sights we're seeing so much more now, and it's something that we really hope goes away soon, but grateful that people are out there to help. Casey Lund was at the event this morning. He filed this report.
The way the food bank operates these distributions has evolved. It takes a lot of volunteers prepping hours before people are even allowed to line up, and it requires a lot of support. This parking lot shows you just how many volunteers, police officers, and Department of Emergency Management personnel it takes to pull these off safely.
There's a sign on the road that says, well, lot not going to open till 7. People in front of me, they had to go turn around by Home Depot, and I was very fortunate to get the timing right that I could come in.
John Mole was one of the lucky ones who was able to get in line early.
Me and my wife both retirees, and we're in a fixed income, and we take care of my sister. She's a retiree, so she's in a fixed income, so every little bit helps.
Thousands of families in line to get the essentials: fresh produce, bread, eggs, and water. Like so many other people here, this is their first time using the food bank.
I was actually unemployed for about a month. I was furloughed, and I actually had a difficult time, managing bills and stuff like that. And I have 3 kids, and my wife is an essential worker, but we try to do whatever we can to through these hard times, and I'm very thankful for the food bank.
At each of these distributions, roughly 80 to 100,000 pounds of food is sorted and handed out by hundreds of volunteers.
Kind of hit home, and just kind of made me happy to be here. I woke up at like 4 o'clock, luckily, because I didn't set my alarm. And so, yeah, it's just been kind of an interesting morning, and I'm really excited to be able to help out.
The next food distribution is taking place next Wednesday at Aloha Stadium at 10 a.m. And as you can see, it takes an army of volunteers to pull these operations off. If you'd like to donate food or help by volunteering, just head to our website at hawaiinewsnow.com. I'm Casey Lund. Back to you for now.
If you're looking for affordable face masks for your family, you might want to check out Old Navy. The retailer just announced it's selling reusable and washable cloth face masks for adults and children. They're 3-ply and sustainable as they're made from leftover fabric. But the best part, you can get 5 for less than $13. The masks are available for pre-order at oldnavy.com, but you probably want to act quick because face masks from similar retailers like Banana Republic have sold out online almost immediately after being released. And Facebook's redesign is now official. The social media giant announced the impending changes last year, saying the update would be more simple desktop version. Now, the new design is almost entirely white with very little of Facebook's signature blue color. There also now the option to use dark mode on the desktop site. Now, the changes should happen automatically, or you can switch over manually by clicking switch to new Facebook.
I've never switched my iPhone to the dark mode yet.
Me neither.
I don't know. I'm not good with change, I guess. I don't know. And I feel like Facebook's always changing things up on us, and I can't find the button I found before. I'm one of those.
Yeah, I don't like that dark Facebook profile either.
People say it's good on the eyes, though. So,
okay.
Yeah, it's supposed to be better for you. All right, guys, we're going to go to our checking in segment today. And speaking of technology, today we're talking to a photographer who's embracing new skills in this pandemic. Let's check in with Mel. All right, we're checking in now with Melanie Chong, a photographer here on the island. Melanie, thanks for joining us and letting us check in with you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited.
Yeah, tell us about what your biz is. What do you do as a photographer, a professional photographer here in the state?
I'm a portrait photographer and a fashion photographer. And I largely shoot a lot of editorials, lookbooks, things like that, and then my own personal work. But I've also started a modeling agency here called the Honolulu City Club, and our motto is beauty without boundaries. So it's a very inclusive and open modeling agency with like less of the like typical strict rules of like maybe, you know, more conservative old school agencies.
So we were talking earlier, chatting a little bit, and you were talking about how this extra time has sort of changed what you shoot, because obviously there's no people, no models you can be close to. So what have you been doing to sort of fill that creative side of you?
It is really interesting because I am a people-oriented photographer. You know, like I said, I'm a portrait photographer. I'm so interested in like the human face and like human emotions and like just humans in general. And I usually either shoot them like in their own environment or like in nature and just like how that plays out. And so it has been interesting because obviously we're not together anymore, you know, and so I'm not shooting people, but I think it's really opened a new sort of door for me in terms of like my personal work, because I've kind of focused on like what are the things that carry on without us, you know, and like taking the time to really like look and listen and see things that I didn't before, you know, because I was like rushing around. I was trying to get to set. I was trying to do this. I've got a meeting. I've got a call. So now it's quiet, you know, and I'm noticing that I'm doing a lot of moving image, a lot of video work on like slow, different things in nature, you know, like I'll go for a bike ride and I'll notice like the sway of a tree and I'm like, wow, that's so beautiful, and I'll film it, you know, or how light moves in the afternoon or the morning, or like shadows and water and just like all this stuff that I feel like I noticed before but didn't take time to really like enjoy it and like feel it.
I just love that you are finding that side of things. I've mentioned to you that I've been shooting a little bit, and it's all very vacant, almost eerie sights of empty malls, empty beaches, and you're actually taking the time to see how life still goes on. So I really appreciate that. But how else has life changed for you personally?
Personally, I mean, I do really enjoy, I'm a very social person, you know, I love meeting out with friends and going out to eat and like going to a bar, having a drink with friends, things like that. And like traveling, I love to travel, and this has been the longest time that I haven't been on an airplane. So like all of those things are greatly affected. You know, like I'm not seeing a lot of my friends, like we're FaceTiming, we're doing things like that, but I do miss that human, that connection. But it's been great in other ways, you know. It's like I kind of feel more connected to some people than I have in years, because we've all got the time now to give each other a call. Like, hey, you want a house party? You want to FaceTime? You want to like Instagram video? Like Zoom.
All right, thanks for checking in with us, Mel. Always a pleasure to talk to you.
It was so good to talk to you.
Time for some positive news. Your good medicine, folks.
That's
got some
right.
inspiration today.
Happy early Mother's Day to all you moms out there. Now, the holiday is especially meaningful for one California mom and her daughter who are both recovering from the virus. Now, Chris Martinez shows us how they helped each other overcome the worst of their illness.
The bond between Adrienne Martinez Hollingsworth and her daughter Zoe is even deeper now after battling COVID-19. 16-year-old Zoe had a milder case in late March, but Adrienne, who suffers from type 2 diabetes, got hit much harder.
It got seriously worse. I was really concerned. There were 2 days where minute by minute, it was a debate of whether or not to call an ambulance.
With her dad still working in the pandemic, Zoe stepped in to care for her mom.
What has this been like for you, having to go through this yourself and then also watch your mom go through it?
Honestly, it's pretty scary because it's also really depressing and stressful.
There are certain underlying medical conditions that make people more likely to have a more difficult course with coronavirus.
Dr. Ariel Summer is Adrian's doctor at UCLA Health.
In Adrian's case, her diabetes is very well controlled, which was an excellent thing to help her recover from.
Mother and daughter are on the mend, but they're both still dealing with lingering symptoms, including mild fevers.
The total course of this illness, I would say, has been over 30 days for me. I continue to have some neurological symptoms. It's very difficult for me to read or write anything, to even speak clearly.
Still, they say they're incredibly thankful to be together.
I'm just happy she's still with me, honestly.
Yeah, I'm so grateful that I came out of it okay, but I'm maybe even a little more grateful that I got to know my daughter in a whole new way and respect her in a whole new way and see how she's growing into this amazing woman.
Making this a Mother's Day to remember. Chris Martinez, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Love that.
Moms are the best. Now, many people will be celebrating Mother's Day virtually and factoring in moms' extra time at home when selecting gifts. The National Retail Federation says 78% of consumers say celebrating Mother's Day is still important to them this year given the current state of the pandemic. Consumers are interested in spending a little more, approximately $8 more, for an average of $205 on Mother's Day gifts and celebrations. Now, categories like electronics, houseware, gardening tools, and books, of course, saw a significant boost this year.
And puzzles.
And puzzles.
Yes. You know what? H&N's got something cool launching. It just launched a new podcast with Stephanie Lum. Here she is with the details.
Just in time for Mother's Day, Mothership has arrived. It's a chance to share a sisterhood of support, inspiration, and wisdom with the help of special guests.
Yes, good to be back. I didn't think I'd be back so soon, but
There's plenty of laughter and, yes, a lot of singing. We hear from some familiar faces like Nahoku Hano Hano award-winning Hawaiian musician Sista Roby.
Makua is the one song in my whole repertoire that I actually wrote. My other nice Hawaiian songs like Keikio Ka'aina, Pi'i Mai Kanalo, that's all my sister.
And remember this guy?
I'm so busy right now that I haven't had time to really miss the actual job part. Yeah, but I do miss the people a lot. Yeah.
It's my former co-anchor, Sean Ching, who is now busy learning the ropes of parenthood.
And it's hard too because now as a parent, they fall down, you wanna, oh, you okay, you get up, but you have to really temper your reaction to a lot of things.
Mothership is hosted by 3 Hawaii moms, including myself and my 2 best friends, Brooke and Noli. So how do we come up with the name Mothership, you ask? Mother is pidgin for mother, ship as in friendship, and mothership because moms tend to be the home base, the headquarters of the family. Mothership is available right now on Apple Music, Google Play, and Spotify. The first new episodes are up as we speak, and look out for a special Mother's Day show as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Stephanie. I had the honor of producing that Mother's Day podcast, and the special guest, I'm going to give it away, Stephanie's mom, who is beyond adorable because I always doodle. You've seen my doodles. Yes. And we always write up these signs that say we're on the air and we put them on our door so people don't walk in the door. I did that with her mom. I drew a picture of Garfield and just Bubbles said, on the air, don't come in. And her mom noticed that and she's like, oh, cute drawing. But then a week later, she sent me an envelope this thick full of individually clipped Garfield clippings. Gosh. She's so adorable. And the nicest note, like tear-watering, just made me blush moment. Thank you, Steph's mom.
So
Mama Lum, you're amazing.
Yeah, Mama Lum.
Mama Lum.
Good to see Sean Ching too. I miss him so much.
Yes, and all those are on our our Google Play and on our Apple podcast. You can download it pretty much wherever you find your podcast.
Very cool.
All right, guys, coming up in about 14 minutes, Mayor Caldwell has another press conference. We're going to bring it to you live here on our H&N digital platforms. We're going to get off the air now so we can set that up for you. Ashley and I see you on Monday. Bye, guys.